My name is Sophie Perez, and I'm 36. I teach physics at Ridgeview High, a place where equations hold more truth than family ever has. I like life measured in constants, in repeatable experiments. At home, though, constants are a myth. My daughter Ava is 8, bright, fearless, and obsessed with tiny galaxies she draws on sticky notes. 2 nights ago, she collapsed mid-doodle, gasping for air. By the time we reached the ER, she was barely conscious. Machines hissed and beeped in sterile rhythm, a cruel metronome counting her fragility. I was standing at her bedside whispering, "Inhale, slow, exhale," when my phone lit up. The name on the screen was Dad. I stepped into the hallway, past harsh fluorescent lights and the hum of a lonely vending machine. "Tomorrow's your brother's birthday. Come help prep," he said. "No," I said, my voice tight. "Ava's fighting for her life." He exhaled that same old huff I knew since childhood. "Then you're cut off." Silence pressed against me like a weight. Cut off from what? Money? Attention? Approval I'd never needed? "You think you're better than us because you teach physics and count pennies. Your brother needs you. We all do. If you're not going to show up, don't expect us either." I looked back through the glass at Ava, fragile under 2 thick blankets. My chest ached with the absurdity of it all, a lifetime of debt, obligation, and guilt I didn't owe. "I'm here," I said, and hung up. I blocked him, the phone face down like it had burned me. The monitors clicked steadily. I counted Ava's breaths, counted my own, counted every time I'd said yes to people who never once asked if I was drowning. At dawn, her eyelashes fluttered. She turned her small head, voice dry and hesitant. "Mom, about Grandpa?" I leaned closer. "What about him, sweetie?" "I heard you. Don't be mad at me like that." I exhaled slowly, letting the room take shape for the first time in years. I had grown up in a house where money was either a weapon or a secret. Mom tracked every coupon like it was metal. Dad threw cash around to make a show, then asked me to cover the electric bill. I learned early how to patch a life together with borrowed tools and borrowed patience. My brother Chase followed a different set of rules. At 29, he was allergic to steady work, obsessed with projects that lived and died in group chats with names like Crypto Kings and Flip or Die. His sneakers were always new, his phone always shiny, and his debts always someone else's problem. When Ava was born, I promised myself I'd stop bailing everyone out. But bills don't respect promises. Chase borrowed my spare card the same week the pediatrician sent her first invoice. "Mom's text, he'll pay you back." One time it was $17 in quarters. By the time I accepted the physics position at Ridgeview High, Dad said, "Cute teacher money." What he meant was, convenient, predictable, a budget we can exploit. And so I had become the adult in a house that punished adulthood. A 36-year-old woman, a single mother, a teacher, managing life with Ava, protecting her from more than just asthma. 2 months ago, Chase called at 1 a.m. "I need $2,000 by morning." "What bind?" I asked. A long pause, muffled laughter. "Inventory." I sent nothing. That morning, my phone lit up. Wow, family is supposed to show up for Mom. Dad added a thumbs up, and "don't be stingy." The pattern repeated itself constantly. Ava's nebulizer, Chase's car repairs, Mom's dental crown. I said yes. I fixed. I paid. Because love had been coded into obligation, and obligation into guilt. The weekend before Ava's attack, I was at my parents' house, fixing a flickering breaker while Chase hovered, impatient and entitled. "The party's next week," he said, tapping my shoulder. "We'll need sparklers and a projector." "Not buying those," I said, not looking up. "Buy rent, bro?" He grinned. I exhaled. "You're good at saying that." Dad intervened, his performative, tired voice. "Don't start. Your mother says we need sides and a cake." And that was the last stretch of normal before the hospital. Ava's attack hit like a freight train. 1 minute, she was coloring magnets. The next, she couldn't breathe. I drove, hazards on, talking her through the math of inhalation. 4 in, 6 out, steady like a pendulum. At midnight, while a nurse hung a fresh IV, Chase texted, "Tomorrow's prep day. You getting the cake?" I typed back, "We're in ICU." Then I put the phone away. At 6:42 a.m., Dad tried again. "Then you're cut off." I stayed silent. I didn't need to bargain anymore. By mid-morning, Ava's oxygen settled. The doctor spoke about steroids and observation. I nodded, taking notes. This was my problem now. My family, that was someone else's. Ava whispered later, eyes half closed, "Mom, about Grandpa?" I held her small hand. "Don't worry about him. Worry about you. For the first time, I could see the stack of facts that would end the cycle. Health and safety first, everything else negotiable or irrelevant. After Ava stabilized, the constant buzzing of my phone reminded me that nothing had actually changed. My family didn't care that she nearly died. They only cared about their schedules, their parties, their debts. Chase's text started again at 1 a.m. Need $2,000 by tomorrow. Inventory. Don't be a cop. I didn't respond. The next morning, my notifications were a storm. Group chat messages, payment reminders, and passive-aggressive gifts. Mom posted a screenshot of my pay stub with the caption, "Help your brother, please." I sat at the edge of Ava's hospital bed, counting her slow breaths, my own heartbeat, and every time I had sacrificed myself for people who would never notice. I realized then that love had been confused with liability. I pulled out my banking app. The shared Costco card my father had been abusing for years? Removed. Amazon account? Locked. Old gas card? Closed. Chase's small rebellions, DoorDash charges, subscription signups, were nothing compared to the years I'd been complicit in their financial games. I drafted a clear, calm message. Effective immediately, I am no longer providing money, credit, or labor for family events or expenses. Do not use my name or accounts for purchases. Contact me only regarding true emergencies about health and safety. Chase responded first. LOL, lawyer lady. Then, so you're really not getting the cake. I ignored him and held Ava's hand. The machine ticked like a heartbeat, and for the first time, my life felt measured in something I could control. By mid-afternoon, my father appeared at the hospital without warning. No flowers, no polite words, just his voice, sharp as a blade. Grow up. I stood. Lower your voice. You embarrassed your mother in the chat, he snapped. You think you're some kind of hero because you pay a few bills? Not a hero, just a mother, I said, feeling the calm click into place, the one you feel when you finally stop bargaining with people who never bargain in good faith. He tried another angle. What about when we're old? You'll leave us to rot. I will help with health and safety. Not parties, not debts, not lies, I said. He blinked. His words faltered. You think you're better than us. I pictured Ava's small hand in mine. I was better than the version of myself who had kept saying yes and called it love. Leave, I told him. You're scaring my child. He turned and left, muttering, Don't come crawling back. I went back to Ava, the monitors gently blinking green. She stirred, whispered, Mom, about Grandpa, it's okay. I squeezed her hand. It was decision, not prediction. My decision, boundaries first, myself first. By late morning, the storm of messages had shifted into a slow, insistent drizzle. My phone vibrated with texts from my mother, Chase, even distant relatives. Screenshots, pleas, accusations. You abandoned your family. Why are you so cold? I ignored all of it. Ava was awake now, small arms curled around me like an anchor. Her chest rose and fell steadily. She was safe. That was the only measure that mattered. I wrote clear, concise replies to my family individually. Ava is in ICU. I will not attend parties. I will not cover debts. Contact me only about health or safety emergencies. Chase escalated predictably. A $900 DoorDash charge appeared on my closed gas card. Then, 3 Amazon subscriptions in my name. Attempted sabotage, thinly veiled as entitlement. I called the bank. Calmly, I reported each charge, closed all linked accounts, and removed all authorized users. The representative almost quietly said, I've seen this pattern before. I smiled without humor. Not this time. By late afternoon, my father called again, his voice low and dangerous. You're going to unlock the card. You're going to bring the tables. You're going to show up for your brother. No, I said, voice steady. Then you're cut off, he spat. You already said that, I replied. I could feel the click of authority inside me, the one that only forms after years of practicing restraint and saying no. He tried another angle. What about when we're old, when we need help? I felt the calm settle over me. This was the moment I'd been preparing for. I will help with emergencies. Not parties, not debts, not manipulations. Leave. He glanced at Ava, still sleeping, her small chest rising and falling, and something like frustration flickered across his face. But he left. I sank into the chair beside Ava, letting the hum of the monitors fill the silence. This was the quiet aftermath. My phone muted, the family storm paused, and a decision settled in my chest like a stone. Boundaries were not cruel. They were necessary. At 5 p.m., the doctor came in. "She's turning a corner," he said. Ava's eyelids fluttered, her small hand finding mine. "Mom, about Grandpa? It's okay," she whispered. I kissed her hair. "It will be okay," I told her, meaning it as a conscious choice, not a hope. The rest of the world could rage. Inside this room, we had control. Later, the family group chat blew up without me. Screenshots, accusations, manipulations, gaslighting. I ignored it. Each message, each GIF, each pleading emoji was evidence that I had finally stopped being the family buffer. Chase texted, "Dad did whatever. We need rent this month." I typed back calmly, "Being a mother isn't paying for others' mistakes." Then I muted him. For the first time in decades, the noise faded. Not gone, just manageable, like a neighbor who learned new hours. I spent the evening with Ava, building spaghetti towers for her science club, watching her laugh as the apex collapsed. Love without boundaries had always been a leak. Tonight, with her small hand in mine, I understood. Love with boundaries is a river, steady, contained, and life-sustaining. The following morning, the hospital was quiet. Ava was awake, her small hands clutching the stuffed star her grandmother had bought. I didn't let her notice the absence of apologies, the silence from the rest of the family. What mattered was that she was breathing, whole and safe. I walked her slowly around the hospital wing, letting her marvel at the koi pond outside the windows, sunlight reflecting off their scales. Each step was deliberate, a small reclaiming of control. The world outside the ICU felt chaotic, but in this small orbit, we were steady. Messages from my family came intermittently. My Aunt Liza, the only one who ever seemed to understand me, sent a simple note. "Don't tell your father. Buy something just for you. I'm proud of you." It was the first real kindness I'd seen in months. I didn't respond immediately. I let the message sink in. The story had changed. I had changed. Boundaries were no longer negotiable. By noon, the doctor cleared Ava for discharge. We left the hospital slowly, savoring small victories. Her smile at the sunlight, the warmth of her hand in mine, the ordinary conversations that had always been forbidden in my family's world of constant demands. Back home, I made soup, set the nebulizer on the kitchen table like a trophy, and watched Ava draw. She was sketching herself, fighting a cartoon asthma monster with a laser labeled "Mom's Jokes." I smiled, letting the domestic rhythm anchor me. The family group chat remained active, but I did not participate. They continued to post screenshots, accusations, and pleas, but I had learned the quiet power of disengagement. The phone stayed face down. Ava's laughter became the new metronome of my life. Later that evening, a cousin I hadn't spoken to in years texted, "What did you do?" "Your dad's pacing." I typed nothing. I didn't need validation. I had control. I had boundaries. 2 weeks later, my sister-in-law, Kara, who usually floated above the drama, called. Chase had tried to use her as leverage, invoking past co-signed loans. I said firmly, no. No negotiation. No excuses. No manipulation. The boundaries were holding. At home, Ava and I built spaghetti towers, ate pancakes shaped like galaxies, and laughed without the shadow of fear or obligation. For the first time, I understood. Closure didn't come from apologies. It came from conscious choices and enforced boundaries. A month after Ava's ICU stay, the air felt different, lighter, almost tentative. My phone buzzed with a new number. It was my father, cautiously reaching out. "We miss Ava. Let's talk." I typed back, deliberately controlled. "We can talk here." The call came. His voice was softer, unfamiliar. I answered, letting him speak first. "How is she?" "Thanks for asking," I replied. Calm, neutral. Boundaries were now a language he hadn't yet learned. He tried to sway me. "We want to see her. Your mother misses her." "Under conditions," I said. "No money talk. No insults. No surprise visits. Break the rules. Visits stop." He paused. It felt like he had finally realized that I wasn't bargaining anymore. "That's extreme," he admitted. "New rules for a new reality," I said. A week later, he sent 2 dates. We chose the botanical garden because Ava loved the koi pond. My mother brought a small, stuffed star, and Ava hugged it anyway, not because it replaced anything, but because she was herself, small and resilient. We walked slowly, ate pretzels, and washed fish. My father and mother tried to nudge at the edges, subtle mentions of birthdays and obligations, but I reminded them gently, we're here for Ava. For an hour, we were a family in the ordinary, messy way I had always wanted. Ava shared her comic. I told them about my students' experiments, stories, laughter, ordinary life, small victories in a landscape that had long demanded drama. When it was time to leave, my father admitted quietly, we want to do better. I'll respond to trying, not threats, I said. No promises, just the smallest movement in the right direction. That night, at home, I wrote a list with 2 columns. What I will do and what I will not do. Will do. Answer calls about health and safety. Show up for hospital emergencies. Support Ava's well-being. Will not do. Fund parties. Cover debts. Be coerced by shame. Accept insults as currency. The list went on the fridge next to Ava's galaxy magnets. Love without boundaries had always been a leak. Now it was a river, steady, life-sustaining. A week later, Priya, my department chair, asked if I wanted to lead the physics team to regionals. I said yes. Ava drew a banner with comets and wobbly equations. We ate pizza in the lab. Laughter came easily, freely. Sometimes at night, when the house is quiet, I replay the words that once haunted me. Then you're cut off. Now it sounded different, like a hinge replaced. The door swings, but I choose when to open it. Ava asked again, softly, Mom, about Grandpa? I told her, we love people from a safe distance when they refuse to be safe up close. That's all. She seemed satisfied. I could teach her the laws of motion. I could teach her the math of breath. And I could teach her the simplest lesson of all. Love without boundaries is not love. It's a leak. I am Sophie Perez. I am a mother, a teacher, and a woman who finally learned to say no without apology. And this time, when I said it, I meant it.